All right, so looks like I am live, and I lost a subscriber today. I guess I got told that my personality is not as good anymore, and something dried up or whatnot, and I don't know. I guess it's kind of possible. I mean, the thing is, and I got to be honest here, is that like the Johnny and Amber thing was really kind of like a once in a lifetime phenomenon. It was really just it was that crazy. It's never coming back again in the same way. So, I mean, pretty much every channel that you found through Amber and Johnny in that situation is never gonna, not never, some of them might catch on something else, but probably never gonna be the same as they ever were. It just can't happen. I've never seen anything like it. Like, basically, I did YouTube for a year and a half, and I mean, I struggled to break 1,000 views. Once in a while, something with 1,000 or 3,000 would be like, oh my God, right? Then when the Johnny stuff came along, 1,000 was like the bare minimum. I was like, whoa, like just press the button, 1,000. 5,000 was pretty common. Then sometime after it took off a little bit, like 10,000 was a pretty solid average, going from like 200 views a video. And pretty much every other channel got that too. So that will never happen again. My personality hasn't changed. I think it got better, actually. I'm having some marshmallows and hot chocolate. We're having a nice live. We got 8 people. We got Astrid, who's been here the whole time. Cheers. I mean, I'll have a sip of hot chocolate. Mm, grape flavored hot chocolate. Kind of odd, but what do you know? Here we are, grape flavored hot chocolate. And I guess I didn't say, yeah, there could be chocolate grape, chocolate strawberry. It's not so crazy to think about these things. So anyway, what's up, Lisa? Lisa, nice to see you. Thank you for all your comments. You sometimes disagree or say like this is old news or this is boring or something, but that's cool. I appreciate it. You know, I look at it as we're kind of just like following along things, and hopefully you're going to be entertained. Hopefully you're going to get some laughs, but it's just kind of like clicking on, I see what this is for a few minutes. Is it going anywhere? That's all it is. We're just passing along the news. There's like 10,000 sources you can get your news from these days. So I'm not expecting to be some incredibly unique personality that's shining through the clouds. Yeah, no, well, here's the thing. Nothing's ever going to go on compared to Depp vs. Heard. I mean, you know, Marilyn Manson went on, Blake Lively went on, Diddy went on, Meghan and Markle still go on, but compared to Depp vs. Heard, it feels like just like, whatever, you know, no big deal, nothing really. I mean, hell, we just had like the biggest political election in like history, kind of, in modern history, and it's like, you know, okay, see what happens. So it's just like Johnny Depp is just that special where there's just never going to be anything. You know, Star Wars kind of when that happened, that whole phenomenon happened. It was I think a little bigger than the Johnny thing like overall, I guess. But yeah, something like that, right? Yeah. Yeah, well, Diddy's coming up in May, and you know, the Blake Lively stuff is kind of interesting. But I'm gonna check out this Colonel Kurtz video, and I'm not totally up on Blake Lively. I didn't know much about her, but Colonel Kurtz here is claiming, and some other people on Twitter are claiming, excuse me, X are claiming that she's got this bad history. She lied and all this stuff, and I don't know much about it, so I'm just gonna watch Colonel Kurt's video and talk about it. And I actually see so many YouTubers doing this now. What they'll do is, and I mean, I'm kind of going to do it, but I know Colonel Kurtz and I know she wouldn't care and whatever. They take a video and they say, hey, I got a video from this channel, and they watch it on their channel. They pause it and they talk about someone else's video, and this is their whole fucking channel. So if you can't beat them, join them. I'm just going to do it. I mean, I'll do it to anybody, but there's a difference, obviously, with Colonel Kurtz. I mean, probably doubtfully stop by here now, but she probably would at some point. So it's a little different. Anyway, and she won't give me a copyright strike, so I hope not.
What is the next
What does
5
that
years
mean?
of
Blake Lively is a narcissistic menace.
what is wrong with you? Seriously. And how has it gone undetected for so long? And then, of course, you've got Ryan Reynolds in this lawsuit blowing up at Baldoni on various occasions. Holy shit. Holy.
Right, it's Baldani. I was saying that wrong for so long. What's up, Kathy? Nice to see you. That's a nice little picture you got going there. So, all right, let's see what we got. I don't know. I'm just learning here. I'm just doing some research, just chilling. You guys say what you want, do what you want, come and go. I don't know. I'm so exhausted these days. Yeah, maybe that's why my personalities took a slight drop because I'm exhausted, man. What can I do, dude? Jeez.
Holy shit. I can't believe the deep shit that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have gotten themselves into. Man, fuck around and find out. They are finding out, and it is going to take a time machine. We need Doc from Back to the Future to whip up a DeLorean for Blake Lively to go back in time and stop herself from creating this giant fiasco that she is now mired in.
All right. So, I mean, I guess we could pretty much say that about anybody. I mean, Amber Heard could use a time machine pretty badly. Meghan Markle could use a time machine pretty badly. I mean, but all right. Nice reference from Back to the Future, which is about Colonel Kurt's generation. She's like a little bit younger than me, I guess. Not super, super younger than me. So, roughly the same generation. Report. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I saw his videos up there. So, you have no interest. I don't really have I guess it would be a stretch if I said I know Colonel Kurtz like a good friend, but we've talked, we've done live streams, we've been in contact for since the whole time pretty much. So I could say like I know her online or something. So that's why I'd rather hear it from her than some random, rando, you could say. But yeah, I mean, I also think she generally gets the information right, and I can't think of a specific case, but she probably corrects herself, when she gets it wrong. So, you know. Oh, Blake. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I didn't know because you just said her, so I didn't really know. But anyway, yeah.
And that she has dragged other people into Ryan Reynolds, although it seems like now Ryan Reynolds is so pompous and arrogant that he dragged himself into this as much as his wife. This is really astounding. And to people who don't understand the significance of this, I saw some people online saying, oh, I'm trying not to pay attention to this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni thing because it's really just a stupid celebrity story of some rich people problems. No, when you've got $250 million and $400 million lawsuits being flung around like this is a whole other level now. And you've got the New York Times being sued and New York Times being accused of collusion with Blake Lively. And you have Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds,
Right. Okay. So the New York Times getting involved in the same way that the Washington Post got involved with Amber and Johnny. Right. All right. I don't know her from anything. I don't care about her from anything. I'm just following the case because it's kind of interesting. So, back to my 2020 era with Blake as Amber 2.0 and my favorite Depp YouTubers. Yeah, thank you so much. I guess if you kind of mean me, maybe not. But obviously, we're going to be looking for something to cover. And you know what? To be honest, like as far as like the stuff I'm covering, like I'm kind of enjoying the Meghan Harry stuff. It's just, it's kind of a little bit lit now with that wildfire kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of using the wildfires for attention. So it's kind of lit right now. It was boring for a while, but I'm kind of liking it now. So yeah, the Lively thing is interesting because her husband is Ryan Reynolds and he's Deadpool. So I kind of know about him and I actually like Deadpool. So that's interesting.
most powerful, wealthy people in Hollywood who have weaponized Me Too and evidently a slew of false allegations to try to take down a burgeoning director and a production company. And that director and that production company now have hired a powerhouse attorney, and he is doing a General Sherman scorched earth march, metaphorically speaking, through the media landscape and the legal world. And he is giving Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds absolute hell. And people need to understand that this is a completely new ball game, a kind of an interesting Frankensteinian fusion of the legal world and PR that we have never seen before here, where now these lawsuits, the intention of these types of lawsuits now that we're seeing being filed with these $400 million price tags, so to speak, the intention isn't even to one day win in court, to win in litigation. It's to make a huge media splash and get evidence and arguments out in front of the public in a legal forum, which is one of the few forums that are still taken seriously in our society today, because the world of journalism and mainstream media are understood to be so completely useless and inept and biased and bankrupt. So if you want to get a message out these days, you want to defend yourself, or in the case of Blake Lively, who initiated all this bullshit, if you want to attack someone, then you file a legal complaint. In her case, initially with the California Civil Rights Commission. She did not, as Justin Baldoni's lawsuit today pointed out, she did not initially file a lawsuit, and that was because she was trying to avoid a lawsuit. In fact, avoid filing a lawsuit. See, she wanted to get her allegations in through the back door, so to speak, so she filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Commission, and she knew that it would go public, but it wouldn't be subject to any rules of discovery or rigorous evidence standards or anything like that. And she just bet on Justin Baldoni being such a wuss, such a wimp. These nice guys, these gentle masculinity guys at Wayfarer Studios just rolling over. Well, lady, you miscalculated. Blake Lively, you miscalculated. And there is a billionaire, a fucking billionaire, bankrolling all of his legal stuff that Justin Baldoni and his team and Wayfarer have been doing. The guy who founded and is bankrolling Wayfarer Studios, the same studios that you are in a fight to the death with now. That guy, Steve Sarowitz, he's a fucking billionaire. And he evidently does not take too kindly to spoil the delusional actresses, narcissistic actresses, targeting his life's work and his blood, sweat, and tears, not to mention Justin Baldoni's, Jamie Heath's, and the others who've been working with Wayfarer for years now.
All right, I get it. So she made this little mention that Baldoni was like this, like, I don't know, like soft masculinity guy, because he talks about all the leftist stuff and, you know, how men need to maybe shape up a little bit, and he takes all that side and, you know, too scared to criticize women and things like that. And yeah, I get it. And I guess like Blake was like, this guy's kind of a wuss, or I guess let's just say it, this guy's kind of a pussy, and you know, I'll kind of falsely accuse him and I'll get away with this stuff. So, all right, makes sense. I'm no fan of Baldoni, whatever his name is. But if he didn't do anything wrong, then I don't want to see him get, you know, screwed over.
None of these people are going to just stand by, apparently, and let this spoiled, delusional, narcissistic actress and her husband destroy their life's work. So guess what? The billionaire is going to use a lot of money. In fact, it seems like he's willing to pay whatever it takes to put you, Blake Lively, through some very intense legal paces and to totally expose your bullshit machinations before the court of public opinion. Astounding, Blake Lively, astounding that you could have just kind of coasted on the success, the massive success of this movie. It ends with us.
Yeah, and by the way, didn't Amber Heard stick up for Blake Lively? It was like the one you know, news story Amber was actually in, aside from the, you know, calling the paparazzis, in like the last 2 years or more. And she like comes out immediately from living in, you know, Madrid, not knowing shit about what's going on the ground in actuality, you know, just living there across the world and defending Blake Lively. seems pretty silly. There's a bad situation. Him being in the basement was sad. Yeah, I mean, Amber's not, I don't know how much part of this story she is, but she, made that comment, so it just goes to show, man, like, why would she even say something until any stuff played out in court,
You were coming out of the bad PR, Blake Lively. That's what's so astounding. You were coming out of all the bad, catty social media stuff. You'd made a lot of money. You'd had this huge success with this film. You should have just gone with the tide on this. But no, you were such a narcissist. And I love how Justin Baldoni's lawsuit today points this out. Just read the introduction to it. You were such a narcissist that you could not keep a lid on yourself. You could not patiently bide your time. You had to try to scapegoat Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer for your bad PR. And it has backfired in a way that is glorious to see and also astounding. Lord have mercy. The headlines tonight that are coming out of Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. He's got pictures of the basement that he was forced into with his beautiful family and his friends because you, Blake Lively, you just couldn't abide this guy actually being at his premiere, the premiere of his movie. Well, that is the movie that you stole from him, apparently, in all kinds of ways, and stole from the editors and stole from the costume designers. What is wrong with you? Seriously. And how has it gone undetected for so long? Or, Blake Lively, have you caused problems on multiple movie sets and TV sets, but it just hasn't come out until now? Or did the hormones of motherhood give you some kind of megalomaniacal delusion? I don't understand. I don't know. But it is astounding. It's astounding. So I'm going to go over the entire lawsuit tomorrow. And I understand that other people have already done it, Popcorn Planet and Emily Baker and others. And I'm sure that they've done a great assessment.
Yeah, I'm not doing that here. I make like 5-minute videos about how I feel about like the main thing. And if you guys want to see like coverage of like the lawsuit and the details, that's not what I do. I can't do that. I mean, I literally can't do it. But I like the more like human drama part of it. Like, what are they saying about each other? How did the movie get affected by the news? Things like that. That's kind of what I do. So my theory is Blake's going one who was mad Justin replaced her advances. That's possible. That's possible. Kind of like Amber Heard and Kevin Costner, I guess, although nothing came of that.
And I love their stuff. But I always have my own spin on things. So I'm going to go through the lawsuit tomorrow. But I just want to say that some of the prime nuggets that are coming out of this thing are just honestly catastrophic for Blake Lively. I mean, the text where she is messaging Justin Baldoni and is basically comparing herself. She flat out says, I am the Khaleesi. The Khaleesi, the blonde chick in Game of Thrones who was this great heroine until at the end she kind of went nuts. But that's who Blake Lively thinks that she is. I am the Khaleesi. And then she refers to Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds as her dragons. And basically, low-key threatens Justin Baldoni with the deployment of her dragons. And of course, I really appreciate the courage that Baldoni and his team and his lawyers and Wayfarer.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, at this point, I think after Amber and Marilyn Manson kind of, I guess, fizzled out, but I don't think too many people believe Evan Rachel would. And now this, it should really be like obvious that these lawsuits here are, pretty much manufactured. And a lot of these women, I think they thought they could get away with stuff even now. Like, I mean, the problem is when people talk about like men and women, we're not talking about normal people here. We're talking about the top tier people of society. So, if there was some random no-name person who said they got abused by their husband. There's no way I'd be like, give me all the evidence in court. Give me a recording. Give me a video. I don't think you're telling the truth because women lie. I'd say, you know what? Your husband, yeah, he might have actually abused you. Maybe he was stressed out from work. You guys are arguing about money, making 45 grand a year. It's so different with like normal people. So I really hate when people say men and women with this kind of thing, because these are not regular men and women. These people are playing on a different level. So, it's like Amber and Johnny didn't have too much to do with gender. It did, of course. Gender is going to play a role, but like, Johnny's like a superstar. Amber was like right up. He carried her up there, but she had a big name at the time too because of him. So like, what's the difference of the gender at that point when there's like millions of dollars on the line,
Her and Steve Sarowitz are showing in alluding to Taylor Swift's interference in the making of this film. Now, they didn't come out and flat out say her name, but of course, everyone knows by the description who they were talking about, and it's being reported.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think they were supposed to have a scene where Taylor Swift like made a cameo in the movie on a rooftop or something, but it just kind of whatever, it didn't work out. I mean, she's pretty busy doing all her silly, stupid crap, and it probably wasn't important enough for her to be in the movie. She didn't do it or whatever, but she was going to be in it. And I guess Blake Lively was kind of indirectly bragging that she knew Taylor Swift or this and that. It's kind of funny because, no offense if you voted for Kamala Harris. I can't. Let me take one more sip of this before I completely slur my speech. Okay, so like, all right, like, no offense if you voted for Kamala Harris, but I think she thought, like, once Taylor Swift was in on it, they were like, yeah, we got this shit. Taylor Swift has got like, 1 billion followers or some stupid shit like that. And the influence Taylor Swift had, not much, apparently, So, I mean, that was actually fantastic. Whether you like whoever you like in the election, I'm not going to talk about this too much, but it went to show that celebrities do not have as much power as they once did, not even close. So, that's kind of good.
Accurately as being about Taylor Swift. But Taylor Swift is not some big component of this lawsuit, but apparently she too was pressuring Baldoni to accept Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' vision for the film and all of their interference and changes. And apparently, Baldoni was called to a meeting at Blake Lively's penthouse. Her and Ryan was there. And Ryan, of course, got on his case and ambushed him. There were several instances described in this lawsuit, actually, of Ryan Reynolds freaking out. We'll get to that in a little while. But then Taylor Swift appears, just happens to show up, right? This hugely influential, intimidating superstar, billionaire friend of theirs. She just happens to show up and start getting on Baldoni's case and trying to convince him of why Blake Lively's vision for the film was correct. Who the fuck are you, Taylor Swift? And people say, "Oh well, Baldoni better be careful. His lawyers better be careful because you don't want to upset the Swifties." Fuck the Taylor Swifties. Look, I got no problem with Taylor Swift up to this point. I find her generally mildly annoying, but her songs are catchy, and you gotta respect her as a musician and a businesswoman to have achieved what she has achieved. But Taylor Swift is not infallible, and she's not.
Oh, you did not say that. Oh man. All right. So, like, I tried to listen to some Taylor Swift, and like her old stuff is okay, but man, like some of her new stuff is like so fucking generic. It like gives me like this like irritating headache. Oh God. So, Taylor Swift has one like Prince song or something. It's pretty good, but some of her new songs, I listened to like 5 songs. It was so bad, man. All right. I just lost my train of thought there. So I thought probably Colonel Kurtz probably does have good taste in music, but I'm a little disappointed about that she said that about Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Infallible in the court of public opinion. There are a lot of people who are tired of her, and all they need is just one reason, one good reason to dislike this girl. And so if she's going around bopping her little head in where it doesn't belong and ragging on Justin Baldoni and trying to team up with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and bully this guy basically with her intimidating superstardom as one of Blake Lively's dragons, then she better prepare herself, because the public doesn't have.
All right. So Blake Lively said that like Taylor Swift was like one of her dragons. Like Taylor Swift is like gonna go to bat for her or something. You know, pretty cool. All right, what's up?
Is that
Oh, I like that hair.
I've got the same outfit on actually. I just woke up. I need to fix my hair.
Oh shit, that's right. That's so crazy. I thought this was like from 3 days ago. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the video you're watching, but I just did an interview with someone. Can you hear me okay, by the way?
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
I just did an interview with somebody, so I got up early for me on a Saturday. I did an interview with the guy who had a negative experience on the set of Gossip Girl with Blake Lively. Nothing crazy or anything. He just said that he was working as a production assistant, and Leighton Meester was really nice, warm, went out of her way to speak with him. And then he said that he said hi briefly to Blake Lively, and she ignored him and shot him a mean look. And then he observed her, he said, for the rest of the shoot being mean to everyone. And he said that what she liked to do was, or what she would do is she would say really rude things to people, but she would say them under the cover of, oh, I'm just joking, or I'm just being a funny girl and stuff. And I think so much of her behavior is really that sort of covert female aggression where she can just, and we've seen this in interviews, where she can just sort of hide under, oh, I'm just joking, I'm just being funny, when she really says very rude things. So anyway, but that's what I've been up to this morning. How are you doing over there?
I'm great.
Yeah. Do you have thoughts on I know I'm late to the party here on your show, but do you have thoughts on the latest with Blake Lively?
Not really. Well, to be honest, I was watching your video to kind of catch me up on it because, well, I've been doing like Meghan and Harry, and they're, like showing up at the wildfires and acting like they care and things like that. And I've been doing that news, so I haven't really. It was pretty interesting, to be honest. It's kind of fascinating. So I was kind of behind on Blake Lively, so I figured let me watch one of your videos because you usually get the facts right.
Oh man, well I'm on this Blake Lively stuff, and I'll tell you, I do find it interesting, but to be honest with you, and you probably know this as well, this Blake Lively stuff is blowing up the algorithm. I've never seen anything like this since Depp versus Heard, in terms of the kinds of, I don't know how it is for you, but in terms of the kinds of views that I'm getting on my stuff, or even on TikTok, my TikTok's blowing up. And I just think that Blake Lively really needs to be careful and figure out some way to walk this back, because this is turning into a feeding frenzy, and the level of it is it's a PR nightmare and a feeding frenzy, and the level of engagement that I'm seeing on this from viewers, it's really reactivated the Johnny Depp Justice for Depp world. It really has reactivated that, because I'm seeing all these people that I haven't really seen engaging with stuff online since Depp versus Heard really getting fired up here. So people just really don't like it when anyone falsely accuses people of sexual harassment or bad behavior, but especially people don't like it when a self-entitled, rude, narcissistic woman, movie star, targets a nice guy. And it seems that Justin Baldoni is a nice guy, and he put up with her for as long as he could, taking over the movie, elbowing not only him out, but editors, costume designers, other producers, and just being basically a total nightmare on the set of that movie. And even with that, Justin Baldoni, he smiled. No, you're fine. He smiled. He put up with it. He didn't say anything publicly. And that was just not enough for this woman. And so she went after him and she tried to cancel him. I mean, that complaint that she filed several weeks ago with the California Civil Rights Commission, that was designed, and then that she leaked to the New York Times, that was designed to scapegoat him for the bad PR that she had been getting and to take him down. Like, she had to know that that would destroy him. And fortunately for Justin Baldoni, he's being backed by a billionaire, Steve Sarowitz, the guy who helped.
Yeah, we just heard you say that,
Oh yeah,
actually.
so he's being backed by this. He's being backed by this guy. So she picked the wrong target. She really did, because this guy has deep pockets, and they're not going to put up with it. So but I'm just telling you, like, I have not seen this kind of engagement or these kinds of numbers in terms of views. And it's not just me. I noticed the same thing with Popcorn Planet, or with your videos when you cover this.
Well, I only have one video on it recently about the actual case, and it got like 5,700 views, which is just pretty good for these days, you know.
Oh,
so,
yeah, absolutely. So so she's in some deep shit, and she has done it to herself. And I have been thinking about what I would do if I were her. You know, I talked about this in a video like a week or so ago with Cool Mom Jamie. And I asked her, you know, what do you think Blake should do? And she had some good ideas about, you know, well, go away for a while and do charity work, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think that's going to cut it. I think that this 5-alarm fire that Blake Lively has started in her life, and the kind of hate that she's getting now, deservedly so, but the kind of hate that she's getting now, I think that there's only one thing that has a shot in hell of changing perception on her. And it's something that she absolutely is not going to be willing to do. But this is what she should do if she really wanted to try to dig herself out of this. She needs to do a full-on mea culpa apology. And she needs to do an interview with someone. She needs to sit down with someone, and she needs to say, basically, if I were Blake Lively, this is what I would say. I would say, look, I lost my dad recently. Her father had a long and difficult illness. I can't remember if it was cancer or what it was. And she and Ryan.
But you're saying Blake Lively's father?
Yes, Blake Lively's father died fairly recently. And he had a long illness. I think it was cancer. And she and Ryan Reynolds had even paid for him to have some kind of experimental stem cell treatment somewhere. But anyway, if I were her, this is what I would do. I would sit down in an interview, and I would say, thank you, Kathy. I would say, I've had a really hard time. I lost my father recently. I was having, honestly, that was bringing up a lot of stuff. And I probably had a much shorter fuse than I should have for all the stress of making a movie. There was a ton of pressure. This was really my first big movie in terms of me being a producer and a big name on set. And there was a ton of pressure, et cetera, however she wants to describe it. But I was under a lot of stress. I lost my father, or my father was dying. I can't remember when he died, but I was under a lot of stress with that. And then, you know, I just had my 4th child, and so forth. And so what I would say if I were her, I would say, I misconstrued, misunderstood some stuff that was going on between me and Justin. And I was hypersensitive. I was way too sensitive to interactions that we were having. And with everything going on in my life, I really have just kind of hit sort of a breaking point, and I screwed up. And I'm sorry. And this has caused me to take a really hard look at myself and patterns, negative patterns of behavior that I've been engaging in for a while. And I need to get my shit figured out. I need to get myself together and go away for a bit and get some help, get some therapy, take some time off, spend some time with my family, and figure out why it is that I made these huge mistakes that I did. And I just want to say I'm sorry to Justin and his family, and to the public. I hear you loud and clear. I screwed up. I'm going to ask for another chance. I'm going to go away and figure out how it is that I misunderstood things to this level, and that I let things get this crazy in my life, and that I lashed out like this. I'm going to figure this out. I'm sorry. And I'll be coming back when I've taken the time that I need to get myself together. Now, I was just kind of shooting that off the top of my head, right? That I would probably have a writer or someone sit down and actually work out.
So you're saying this would be like her best defense, her best shot at like saying like why she did things, and like, you know, please forgive me because my father just died and I was going through things and I wasn't thinking clearly, kind of thing, right?
Exactly. I was under a lot of stress. And also what I think I would say too is that, let me tell you what I think actually triggered a lot of this negative behavior and these negative attitudes toward Baldoni by Blake Lively on set. I know some people are speculating that maybe she hit on him or had feelings for him or something and they weren't reciprocated. It's
And
possible.
she's married.
Yeah, it's possible, but this is what I actually think was
He
the
is pretty
issue.
good looking, I guess. I mean, I don't.
Oh, he's better. He's a lot better looking than Ryan. But
Yeah.
let me say what I think.
Oh, I don't know about that much detail, but okay, yeah. He
No
seems
homo. No
like-
homo.
okay, wait, just for a second, just like
Okay.
because I'm in touch with my feminine side, right?
Of course.
Like he looks masculine, but at the same time, kind of soft, like you said, right? So kind of like he kind of
Ryan.
both, like kind of looks masculine, but also kind of feminine, and kind of like understanding emotions kind of guy. Is that right?
Or
Okay.
Justin or Ryan? Who are you?
Yeah, Justin.
Oh, Justin. Yeah.
Ryan's just some like Scarface badass in the Marvel movies. Basically.
This is what I actually, though, I have not said this to anyone else, but this is what I actually think triggered a lot of this negativity from Blake toward Justin. I think that you have a woman here who is very self-conscious about her weight and her appearance for obvious
Blake
reasons.
is?
Blake, yes, because I think this has been like many actresses in Hollywood, this is her calling card. And let's face it, I mean, she's an okay actress, but basically her looks are more or less the reason why she is where she is. And I think what happened was she had just had her baby. And
Okay.
she did have a lot of extra baby weight for her. You can even actually look at the premiere of It Ends With Us.
That's her fault, by the way, because I've been through 5 pregnancies and no one gained weight. Because I think in Asia it works different. Like in the West, women are like, well, I get pregnant, I'm gonna gain weight, but it doesn't quite work like that.
Well, so you look at her, you can see also the picture of her at the premiere of It Ends With Us wearing the Britney Spears dress, and she looks beautiful. But she was at that point a voluptuous woman. Whereas you look at her in the past, from her earlier days, very, very skinny, right? And I'm not saying that she was too big or anything like that. I thought she was gorgeous and It Ends With Us and so forth. But I'm saying it's very clear that she had gained a lot of weight in that pregnancy. And this is what I think happened. She was already very self-conscious about the weight gain and being in the public eye. And her trainer screwed up and gossiped to her about the fact that Justin Baldoni had approached him asking how much she weighed because he had some severe back problems and he just wanted to know. It's like, I'm going to have to, there was going to be a lifting scene. I'm going to have to lift someone heavy. And, and so how much does she weigh? And what happened is that trainer, these trainers, a lot of them, they're like little girls with the gossip and stuff.
Right.
And
Well, that was work related. So, what's the big deal? He should be able to know what she weighs if it's work related and he's got a back problem.
Exactly. But the problem is the way that the trainer then went and I think conveyed that to Blake Lively, because this is the sense that I get of what happened is the trainer went to Blake and trying to, these people in Hollywood, they're always trying to ingratiate themselves with stars. And so you've got this trainer who is financially in bed with Blake and Ryan. He has a business relationship with them. Actually, they help to, I believe, promote some of his products or his work or his business. And so he goes to Blake, the trainer goes to Blake apparently and says something to the effect of, God, can you believe I think he thinks that you're too big. He was asking me what you weighed and all, how it is. People gossip and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
she might have been.
The trainer says this to Blake and she already then, I believe, had this extreme sensitivity about her weight gain and how she was perceived. And so the way he conveys it very poorly, I'm sure, to her, she blows up. And I think from that point on, this was really the genesis of her issues with Justin Baldoni. And I also think that's why in the Deadpool movie, where they're making fun of the Baldoni character, the Nice Pool character, remember the Nice Pool character actually makes a weight reference about Lady Pool.
I saw Wolverine, the new Wolverine Deadpool one.
Was it Wolverine then? I don't even keep track of these movies.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a scene in there where Nice Pool, the Baldoni character, says to Deadpool Ryan Reynolds, oh, Lady Pool, she's so hot and that baby weight came right off, or she doesn't even have much baby weight. And so it's very clear to me that this was the real issue here, is that this stupid trainer went back and gossiped to Blake Lively like a little girl about, oh, he thinks you're fat. Blake Lively gets really upset. Ryan Reynolds gets really upset. And this starts the bad blood. And so I think if I were Blake Lively, what I would do is I would say, look, it may sound silly to a lot of you who aren't in the industry or aren't in Hollywood, but body perception is really important. And I was feeling super, super bad about my weight gain, my fourth child. And I was very, very sensitive. And this trainer comes to me He represents this to me in a negative way that probably now I see wasn't accurate. And so it really hurt my feelings. And I don't deal well with emotions like that. And so it made me then from that point very resentful and suspicious and aggressive toward Justin Baldoni. And I see now that that was wrong. I see that the trainer misrepresented this to me. I see that I need to deal with my own own body perception, sensitivity issues, and all of that.
Here's the problem, like with everything you're saying. What you're saying is correct. What you're saying is correct. But what I heard recently, and I haven't thought about, is that women don't like to take accountability. And your whole argument is based on her taking accountability.
Sure, it's going to be hard, but here it's going to be very hard. In fact,
you have to professionally in court if her lawyers say so. But in general, when you think of it, women don't like to take accountability. Not as much as men are like, yeah, I did it. I fucked up. Oh, well, I'll try it again. Women try to think about every which way where it wasn't their fault or some emotion got involved or someone said something or they had to do something.
No comment on that. No, but I know what you're saying. And apart from whether it's a gender issue or not, taking responsibility, I do think that narcissistic people in Hollywood definitely reluctant to do that. But that is what it takes. And, that would stop the narrative. It wouldn't stop people from talking shit about her some, but a lot of people would give her credit for owning up to her BS and for doing a mea culpa. And people generally do want to forgive, even in cases like this. And if she were to come forward and fall on her sword, so to speak, and then let me tell you what's going to happen if she does that. Justin Baldoni, he is a nice, laid-back guy. His faith as a member of the Baha'i community, it's very, very important to him. If she were to come forward with the mea culpa and say, I'm sorry, I'm telling you, his team, he is going to accept it, and he's going to be very nice, and he's going to, and because that will make him look good too, being magnanimous. And so that's the way I think. It's going to be hard, and she's not going to do it, but that's the way I think that she can deal with this, is to come out with a mea culpa, blame it on body issues, body perception issues, sensitivity around weight. And then my dad was dying and I was going through all this, and I just had a baby and it was difficult pregnancy and difficult birth, blah, 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 blah. And I'm so sorry. And I'm going to go away for a bit and get my head straight and figure it out how the fuck I got into this mess. She does that. She has a fighting chance then of coming back one day, especially if she can get some meatier roles, or like Cool Mom Jamie suggested, some ugly roles that really show her more as an actress. She has a chance. But if she doesn't do that, if she continues what she's doing right now, doubling down, fighting even harder, she is going to go the way of Amber Heard. She absolutely will. My opinion.
Is there an actual date set for the court yet? Is it like pinned down or?
No. We are so far out from that. And look, I'm going to be honest with you, and I've been saying this online. I don't think any of this shit is going to see the inside of a courtroom. I think stuff will end up getting dropped or settled. But these days, and it was the same with the Marilyn Manson defamation lawsuit against Devin Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore. These days, these kinds of lawsuits like Baldoni has filed or like Manson filed, these lawsuits are not to win in court. These lawsuits are to get your side out there in a forum in which people will actually pay attention, because people don't even people don't pay attention now unless you file a lawsuit.
You know what? I just realized you actually met Marilyn Manson.
I did.
You gotta actually tell me about that a little, because I gotta say, I'm really fucking jealous. Because like I've been listening to Marilyn Manson since I was in high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's partly my fault because I'm here in Tokyo, so I couldn't be like, oh, I'll meet you in the States. I could have maybe worked that out, right? It's my fault. I'm in Tokyo, but
Well, the way that you meet Marilyn Manson is you have to spend 4 years of your life churning out videos constantly about it.
Good videos, not just any videos, right? Because yours are pretty damn good.
Well, I appreciate. There are a lot of others who have been standing up for him, but I was fortunate in that I was the first to smell a rat here. And so within a week of the allegations, I started looking into it and saying, I see some issues here. But no, I have now met him a couple of occasions after a couple of
Right,
concerts.
it's been more than once, right? Holy
Yes, yes. And
right.
just very briefly, you know how these things are. These people are very, very busy, and concerts are
Mhm.
crazy. And so it really, honestly, both times I only spoke to him
All
for
right,
about
let me ask you a
5 minutes.
question. Let me ask you a question. What do you think was like his overall demeanor, his aura, like how he was around, less women and just his touchy-feely kind of, did you get any kind of vibe whatsoever that he was like a creep? That like some people would say he was just, you know what I mean, from
Yeah.
watching online or people who hate him, oh, that guy's so creepy and, like the haters would say. What was like the feeling you got as far as like comfortability being around him and things like that?
He's extremely, extremely shy. Extremely
That's
shy.
what I thought you'd say.
Yeah, extremely shy, extremely quiet, the antithesis of what you would assume based on his stage persona, based
Mhm,
on interviews that he's done. I know a
mhm.
lot of people have brought up interviews in the past where he said shocking things. In fact, the Channel 4 documentary that just came out, it begins with an interview where he's talking about, yeah, I'd like to break women down or something. I can't even remember. This is just a shtick, that a persona that he was projecting for a while because that's what people wanted to see. And for a while it sold and it was edgy, but this is not who this guy is. And he was very, very shy, extremely gentle, very quiet,
Right.
very, very thoughtful, and not thoughtful in a sense of like very contemplative and yes, and just very gentle.
Let me make one other predict. I bet he was slow moving. He probably didn't do really like quick movements. Was he
Yes.
slow moving around you? Kind of like,
Yes, yes. He is the opposite of someone who is hyper, and so everything is very sort of slow and
right,
muted and,
right,
and fluid and
right.
all of that.
Without even meeting him or ever talking to anyone who met him, I could kind of tell just by the way people reported him who I thought was honest about him, kind of slow moving guy. Like wouldn't just like jerk you around, pull your arm into a picture like, hey guys, probably really respectful,
No, right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. And I was also able to observe his interactions with his wife, Lindsay. And
Right, right, right.
Evan Rachel Wood and some of the others on that side have claimed that Lindsay is trapped in this abusive relationship and that she just can't speak out.
Oh, right, right, right,
I
right.
can just tell you, I understand that things behind closed doors can be different or what have you, but seeing their interactions, it was very clear to me that the dominant partner in that is her, in that relationship.
Okay. Which in a way it usually
Good,
is
it's fine.
the
Yeah.
woman. I
Right.
mean, it usually is the woman. Like I kind of like, I don't know, it's really deep subject, but I really think the woman's like the anchor of the family in an overall overarching sense of
Happy
life.
wife, happy life, kind of.
Yeah,
Right, right.
not necessarily that, but like it's like I think there's a lot of confusion with like feminism and like these gender wars going on. Like men are saying they're better than women. I think most men know in the end women are more important than men, like as a species to survive.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean they're equal in every single way
Sure.
as far as
Sure.
like making society, running machines and things like that. And it's the biggest conflation I think of our times that men are saying, that like we're better than women, but at the same time people think men don't understand women are more important, if that makes sense.
No, I understand what you're saying, and part of it just goes down to basic biology, that there's a lot of sperm all over the place, but the eggs are more precious. There's a limited amount, and so forth. And
Right,
so,
right.
um, and so with Manson, it's been very obvious to me, the interactions that I've had, and also seeing how the interactions are between him and his wife Lindsay, that this is someone who's just not at all this dominant abuser that he's being depicted at. He doesn't even like, I've heard from multiple people, he doesn't even like S&M. He doesn't even like kinky sex,
Mm.
and so there's just a lot of misperceptions, and obviously he has fed into them over the years, crafting a particular image that now doesn't work for him, unfortunately,
Right.
very well. But
Yeah.
but and these were short interactions, but I'll tell you what really came across to me too in these interactions is that his art is so important to him, and he really, I don't think is that bothered by negative public perceptions of him as long as he's allowed to do his art. And so
Mhm.
one of the conversations that we had, short conversations, was he was explaining to me, I think, why it was that he hadn't come out and really charged out in the media and given interviews, or why he's not
Mhm.
out there on the airwaves blasting Evan Rachel Wood. And what he basically said to me was, I knew that just like with Columbine, if I put my head down and if I withstood all of the pressure and all the bad media coverage and I just kept working on my stuff and working on myself and making my art, I knew that I could get through this and I could do what was really important to me, which was continue to make art. And so I think that one reason why he has not been as aggressive as, honestly, I would have liked in the media and interviews and stuff like that is because his priority is not slamming Evan Rachel Wood and the accusers against a wall, metaphorically speaking, or slamming them in the press. His priority is maintaining some breathing room for himself so that artistically he can continue to perform and produce art. And he's doing that. So good for him. But
yeah,
but I'm sorry, go ahead, finish. What
No, I always took him as somebody who took his art seriously.
Absolutely.
I didn't take him as somebody who was doing it as like a gimmick and putting it out there, and then he's some totally different person behind the scenes. I figured at least a good part of him was really that person you see in the albums or, that album cover or whatever is kind of like part of him. Like Kurt Cobain's a similar way. Like when you see some crazy shit on like, incesticide and like bleach and shit, it might be somewhat to market the album, but I think part of that was in him, Same thing with Manson.
Right. So it was cool to meet him, and it was interesting to see his interactions with
probably
people.
more than cool. I mean, it's kind of an understatement.
Oh,
cool
well.
to meet him. Okay,
No,
big deal. Like, you'll never get to meet him. It was pretty cool. Don't
well, I was not. As I said before, I was not a Manson fan going into this, and so even though I like the music that I had heard, and I had a best of CD that someone had given me years ago, but I think that, so for me, it wasn't like, oh, this is like a lifelong dream or whatever. But certainly if you've been covering someone for years, then it's really special to get to meet them. And look, it was also special to me to see the way that the people around him, I'm outside of his wife, even the people around him, the way that they seem to really love him and appreciate him, because I also got to talk to Tyler Bates, his producer and guitarist. And I got to talk to a couple of other people in the band this last time. And some of the people around him, and they thanked me so much for protecting this guy, and they are all very protective of him, and they seem to genuinely love him and think that he is a good human being. And so when you see also that that's the way that other people around him who have known him for years are relating to him, then I think that's very significant too. I haven't watched your Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni coverage, and so sorry if this is kind of a repeat, but what are your big thoughts on all of this whole situation?
Have you seen this channel name, eHacker? I'm not making a joke. It's not a joke. It's not even really a gimmick. So I usually put out videos that could possibly get the most views while knowing the least possible information.
Well,
and
so
I'm literally a hack. I'm literally a hack. It's literally what it is. So I haven't done much research on it, like
but
whatsoever.
You have an impression. And what's significant about this too is that most people who are going to be hearing about this Blake Lively Baldoni stuff, they haven't done much research either. So I'm just really curious, like, let me put it this way. Do you feel like he has definitely won the PR game, or do you think that she has a chance to kind of come back? Or do you think, like Amber Heard?
It seemed like in the beginning, like people were kind of unsure, but then it like pretty quickly it seemed people like, oh yeah, Amber 2.0, there's a number Amber. And like you said before, it seemed like when they took a look at Baldoni, he's got that kind of innocent, kind of soft feel, and he seems trustable, to a certain extent, if that makes sense.
Right. Can I respond to something actually here? Bosette says, not sorry, not good human beings don't wish death on a former sitting president. Well, look, let me say, you must have big issues with Johnny Depp too then, because Johnny Depp talk shit about President Trump too. Didn't Johnny Depp actually even say that he wanted him to be assassinated?
Okay, you need to know some history behind Bosette first. Bosette's been here for over 5 years.
Well, I'm not trashing Bosette, but I'm just trying to respond here. So
yeah, but Bosette, I don't think is really as interested in this stuff as he was in my like Star Wars and Marvel coverage. And he's just kind of following my channel.
Holdover from the Star Wars
days. Like an OG who's following me, who really, I can't speak for him, but doesn't give a shit so much about Johnny or Manson.
Okay, well, he's consistent then. So I appreciate your consistent, Bosette. Let me say one thing about the Trump thing. So I voted for Trump in 2016. The last I kind of dropped out of voting after that, which I don't know, maybe that's bad or not. I kind of feel like voting is a sham. But anyway, it's a long story. But I voted for Trump in 2016,
okay.
and I am more to the right than to the left. So
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
appreciate it. I don't appreciate the anti-Trump comments that celebrities have made,
Mhm.
and so let me say this though. I think that there were a lot of people who weren't paying a ton of attention to politics and were just kind of years ago, and we're just kind of going with the media narrative. And I think
Mhm.
I don't want to speak for Manson, but let me put it this way. I think that there are a number of people in the entertainment industry who had a misconception, a sort of a lazy misconception about Trump that they got from the media. And I think that that misconception has been changed in the past
Mhm.
several years. And a lot of people have awakened to the fact that Trump is not this horrible guy that that the media said that he was. And I think a lot of people are becoming more conservative in their later years, we'll put it that way, or in middle age. And so I don't want to speak for Manson or anything. I wouldn't presume to do that or claim that I have any inside knowledge, but I get the sense that there are, let's just put it this way, that there are a number of people in the entertainment industry who have sort of seen the light on some
Mhm.
stuff politically. And I would
Mhm.
expect that a number of people in LA will be seeing the light through the smoke of the fires
Mhm.
right now, and the disaster that whole thing is turned into. And so I guess this is what I'm trying to get at here. I understand being annoyed by the anti-Trump reference in his music video, or the comments that, Johnny Depp has made about Trump and so forth. But also I think people need to understand
Which I
that,
heard Johnny took back, by the way. I don't
right,
recall exactly what Johnny said, but, I mean.
right. And so anyway, I understand you both said, and I'm not saying that's not that kind of behavior or those comments aren't annoying, but I also think that there were a lot of people who early on in this whole Trump thing, they just kind of accepted what the media was telling them and didn't really look into it too deeply. And I think a lot of people have revised their opinions now, or at least have softened them about Trump.
Yeah. Well, the thing you said one time about Marilyn Manson is it's part not I'm not gonna say his fault, but, when you put out that image, you gotta expect some people to, just not understand it and hit back, and Trump's a similar way. When he says a lot of shit he says, some people are like, "That's not presidential." Like, "Oh, what the hell's wrong with this guy?" I kind of understand, like, he could be a little bit more controlling as far as the things he says, you know what I mean?
But he's a fighter, and he's in a rough ring. And what Trump has said before, and look, I feel the same way. He's like, I don't go after people generally until they attack me and they say bad stuff about me. Right now, I will say this about Trump, something really negative. I think that what he did with Obama and that birth certificate,
Mhm.
that whole saga, I thought that was absolutely nuts, and I thought it looks terrible, and I don't know what the
Mhm.
fuck Trump was thinking. I guess maybe he thought that it worked for him politically, and maybe it did, because it made him a number of fans on the right, and so maybe it helped to lay the foundation for him uh, entering politics as a right winger, so to speak. But I thought that was absolutely, that whole saga with the birth certificate was absolutely loony and ridiculous. And so Trump himself has made a number of very big faux pas in the past. He's not perfect either, but I and a number of other people overlooked that, forgive that. It's like, okay, that was some crazy, weird shit with that birth certificate thing, that birth certificate saga, but whatever. So we've all got stuff in the past that we've said or done that is regrettable, and in hindsight looks stupid.
I think, like, Trump's popularity comes from, like, way back since the first time he beat Hillary, is like a lot of people just want someone, like, kind of real. Like, I just kind of
Yeah.
want to know who you are. And, like,
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
I just don't know who she
Yeah.
is. Or even Obama or Joe, I don't know who they are. Even if I don't like certain things about Trump, I kind of feel like I know who he is.
Right,
He,
right.
he
He's relatable. He feels like if you were to talk to Trump behind the scenes, that you'd be getting the same person that you get who's speaking in front of you at the mic.
right.
But anyway, back to Blake and
Mhm.
Justin. Um, so do you think that Justin's basically pretty much, in terms of the PR and public opinion, do you think he's pretty much got it made, or do you think that things could shift again?
It depends on what comes out. I mean, I don't know how many details we know at this point. You mentioned a thing where, they made him go in some basement with his family or something. I didn't catch exactly what you didn't explain it so much,
So
but
So the premiere of It Ends With Us, there was so much resentment by Blake Lively at that point toward Baldoni that she demanded that she not even have to be with him or be around him at the premiere. And so the reason that he and his family and his friends were basically sent to the basement, it's like that R. Kelly song, Trapped in the Closet, except trapped in the basement, right? But the reason why they were in the basement was because Blake Lively did not want to, she could not abide their presence at this thing. And so he had to walk the red carpet at that premiere. Justin Baldoni had to walk the red carpet apart from her. And he had to, with his family, sit in the basement for a while, either while the film was being screened or during one of the parties, like a pre-party or after party. I can't remember. But yes, he was there. He and his family had to be there because Blake Lively would not accept their presence, even though he was the director of this thing. And, personally, I think that there is no way in hell that Blake Lively is coming back from this again, unless she makes a big mea culpa, because to me, I assume that these lawsuits, this is basically both sides giving it their best shot, and that we basically seen in these lawsuits pretty much everything that there is to see. And when you compare her lawsuit and the crazy, ludicrous claims that it makes versus, with very few receipts, versus Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, very logical, makes a lot of sense, has tons of receipts. To me, there's just no comparison. When Blake Lively, in her complaint that she filed in California and then her lawsuit, when she uses the word pornography to refer to a birthing video, that she's just lost all credibility for me. And Justin Baldoni, I think one of the most compelling aspects of his lawsuit is all of the text exchanges, the conversations between him and other people on the set, him and editors, him and other producers, people who worked with Blake. And they're saying to him, basically, this woman is crazy. She's a nightmare. We got to tiptoe around her. She's taking over the film. What are we going to do?
How do these people get to be like famous actresses when they're so effed up in the head and crazy? And like, how does it happen? I mean,
that's a good
why aren't they just like good women, like who go to drama school and they've got a family? And why is it always some crazy person wanting to sue someone and divorce someone and abuse someone? Like,
so I think that we tend to notice the cases that are extreme more than others. I mean, there are a lot of other people in this film and a lot of other people in the industry who don't act this way. But here's the question I have that I think you're sort of getting at as well. How is it that someone like Blake Lively, who apparently has a terrible reputation, and I've heard this from multiple people and people who are in the industry and whatever, people who don't even want to come forward, how is it that someone can be such a difficult person to work with, and yet she keeps getting hired? I would think that there's so many talented, hot actresses out there that people would, that once a director or producer would have this experience with her, they would say, nah, I don't want to work with her. Or other people would say, well, she's got a bad reputation. I don't want to work with her. In fact,
I guess if they put her out and a few movies do good, then she's kind of set.
Right.
Because a few movies do good, even if she's kind of nuts, they're going to be like, well, her movies do pretty good, so deal with it and, sell the tickets.
And that's exactly, it seems, what happened in Baldoni's case, where he and the other producers and Wayfarer Studios, they were warned, and this is in the lawsuit, they were warned apparently that she was difficult to work with and that she had a bad reputation for being difficult. But they said to themselves, basically, the sense that I get is, well, how bad could it be? And look, she's really beautiful and really talented, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that is what happens is people shrug it off and say, oh, well, but it's Blake Lively and she'll be good for the movie. And so whatever. But they did severely underestimate her and how difficult she was going to be to work with. And I just wonder now if we're going to have stories coming out from other films, other sets about problems that this woman has caused in the past, because I would find it very hard to believe that this is the first time that she has caused really significant issues, right?
Kind of like Amber. No one knows who the hell she is. Then she goes up there and the whole, stories break out. Then we find out, oh, she actually had a manslaughter charge in Texas, and all this stuff comes out, that we wouldn't have known. So yeah, that's actually a good point. Let me ask you about one more thing.
Yeah.
This is kind of interesting to me that Blake Lively said something to the extent that like Taylor Swift was like one of her dragons or called her Khaleesi's. Is there like any more detail behind that?
Yeah. So I'll just read the I'll read the actual message. So this was a text that was included in Justin Baldoni's recent lawsuit.
Mhm.
And a little bit of context basically is that Baldoni was called to a meeting at Taylor. I called to a meeting at Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' penthouse to talk about the
Mhm.
film. And at this meeting, Blake and Ryan both ganged up on him and were trying to persuade him to go with their vision for the film, which was different than his. And at that time, they had Taylor Swift kind of bop in there for a visit, and apparently Taylor Swift joined in and was trying to pressure him as well. And so this text I'm about to read you, it was a response to Justin Baldoni saying to Blake, basically, look, you don't have to get Taylor in a very nice way. You don't have to get your big friends, your big shot friends to come in
Right.
and try to fight these battles for you or try to persuade me or pressure me to do something. I like your ideas already. You and I, we can have basically what he's trying to say to her is we can have a good professional relationship between us without you bringing in these big shot friends of yours to try
Right.
to tip the scales in your direction. And so this was her response to him. She says, if you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi, and like her, I happen to have a few dragons, for better or worse. For better or worse, but usually for the better, because my dragons also protect those I fight for. So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too, I can promise you. Now, this is basically, in my mind, low key threat, because what she's saying is, yeah, I've got these big shots in my corner, very, very powerful, influential people, and I can decide whether I use them to help you or to hurt you. Very,
Mhm.
very strange, very bizarre. But yes, she referred
Right.
to Taylor Swift as one of her dragons, which I think is kind of interesting. I wonder how Taylor would feel about being
Right.
being the minion, the dragon, so to speak, for the Khaleesi.
I mean, probably not so great. I mean, I would imagine that Taylor Swift kinda considers herself above Blake Lively, which she is technically
She
as
is.
far as fame and money
Right.
and things like that. So, she wouldn't really wanna be, like, used by Blake Lively as some kind of
No,
chess piece that she's gonna come and, do Blake Lively's bidding, you know?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Alright.
I've got to run, but it was nice
Yeah.
to talk to you. And yeah, keep making those Blake Lively videos because they do well.
Well, that's why I was watching your video because I wanted to just get the info on it and,
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and appreciate y'all joining. And hi, Laura B. I see you there. And yeah, see you later.
yeah, have a good one. Thank
You
you.
too. Bye.
All right, pretty perfect because that's going to be a little video clip. Add to the screen. All right, I think let me say a few words. I think um Colonel Kurtz is probably kind of a natural, just keeps talking and talking and talking without thinking about what she needs to say because she's already thought about it so much, I think, and it just comes out. And I got to sit here and like think about what am I going to say? God damn it. I don't know enough about that. So let me try to say it and kind of act like I know more than I'm saying. And she just knows it all. So I'm going to basically watch her videos, think about things, make my videos, which is cool because that's what YouTubers are doing these days. What's up, Gary? Nice to see you. Yeah, I like hearing her talk too. She's got a good voice and keeps going and going and going. Like I don't want to get all misogynistic here, but like some women like keep talking in a bad way. Colonel Kurtz is like a woman who keeps talking in a good way. It's hard to explain. So, you know, that's the best I could explain it, and I'm sure she might agree. I guess she's on Team Justin here, and I'll take her word for it as far as the views and traction. I gotta admit, I'm kind of enjoying the Meghan, Harry kind of stuff, but yeah, I'll have to look into that Blake Lively stuff. What's up, Fison? Nice to see you, and thank you for calling me sir, but have you know that should be a capital S. It's been a while, but once again, I'm at the gym. Right, I think you said this last time. Hey, gym away, man. I had a surgery not too long ago, and I kind of have a little pains in my muscles, but I've been working out also. you know. Yeah, I know I'm good, but it's not exactly for the same reason other people are good. I'm good because I'm just real. I say what I want. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'll even say when I'm kind of faking something, I don't know so much about it, but it's kind of fun to listen to me talk about it, and I'm still going to deliver the news to you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to like say some bullshit and make believe I know something I don't. I'm going to deliver the news and say, here's the news, guys. What do you think? Let's talk about it. I know this, I don't know that, and that's it. And, you know, so it's pretty simple. And that's the best I got, man. Because let's face it, you know, I'm just a dude making YouTube videos, and like Colonel Kurtz is bigger, has a bigger platform than me, but in the end, in the grand scheme, she's just someone making YouTube videos. So if we don't offer our actual opinion and who we are, then what do we got? Because you could go watch the fake shit anywhere else, you know? So that's why I don't get along so good with people who like to kind of fake it and act like they know shit, like they've got some news platform and you should go to them to get the story. No, we're going to other places and giving our opinions on it third party. And that's all. Well, thank you, Sophie. And I like your style of commenting because you compliment me. What else could I possibly say? But yeah, thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Bernice. And I don't know, maybe. Lots of people doing it. Yeah, well, I mean, part of me does it for the clicks. Of course you want clicks. Like, it's the dumbest thing to say. You don't make a video if you don't want clicks. Like, obviously I want clicks. I hope I get clicks because people like listening to me as well as the news they get. So it's like 50-50 for me. Yes, I want clicks, and I've said 100 times, this is like a part-time job for me. I've got kids. I've got a fucking home loan. I can't take like 3 hours a night out of my life to like not get anything. So of course I hope I get clicks, you know. And if people don't admit it, I hate that, man. Like when someone's like, I'm making a video, I don't care about money, I don't care about views. Well, unless you're rich already, you might not. But if you're anybody paying bills and you've got some responsibility financially, and if you've got time to waste making videos and you don't care about the money, you're wasting time. You're an idiot. You might as well play a video game. It's going to be a little more fun than this, you know. Yeah, sure. I'll actually do that. I'm going to probably make some too. Yeah, I'll do it. I don't even, yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you. And you've had that same picture for quite a while. And I don't think Colonel Kurtz is aware of this, but I drink hot chocolate when I do these lives. And she probably had no idea how much hot chocolate I drank because I'm pretty good at composing myself when I drink hot chocolate. And I wanted to drink more hot chocolate, but she kept talking. I didn't want to get up. So I'm going to get up for a minute because I need to have another hot chocolate. And I'll be back in about 20 seconds. So I guess I'll just let her video roll. I guess I'll rely on Colonel Kurtz one more time to get me the clicks because I'm too lazy to get all my own clicks. I need help from people like Colonel Kurtz and Meghan Markle and Blake Lively because I can't do it on my own.
A musician and a businesswoman to have achieved what she has achieved. But Taylor Swift is not infallible, and she's not infallible in the court of public opinion. There are a lot of people who are tired of her. And all they need is just one reason, one good reason to dislike this girl. And so if she's going around bopping her little head in where it doesn't belong and ragging on Justin Baldoni and trying to team up with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and bully this guy basically with her intimidating superstardom as one of Blake Lively's dragons, then she better prepare herself because the public doesn't have to like everything that Taylor Swift does. And they're not going to like behavior like that. So kudos to Justin Baldoni and his lawyers for putting that reference to Taylor Swift in their lawsuit. It's fucking annoying. It's fucking annoying. You go do your own thing. Go back to your Eras tour. It Ends With Us does not need your assistance, Taylor Swift. And then, of course, you've got Ryan Reynolds in this lawsuit, blowing up at Baldoni on various occasions. At one point saying to him, how dare you fucking ask how much my wife weighs? How dare you fucking ask about my wife's weight? Well, of course, that story.
Why? Why can't somebody ask about someone's wife's weight? Like, how dare you ask about my wife's weight? It's not like I mean, someone's weight is kind of like public information. Like, if someone's, like, too heavy or something, you've gotta know. Like, if you're gonna be sitting next to them or if you're gonna cross a bridge with them or something, you should know their weight. So, I would just assume that that's kind of public information. You know, it's not like he's asking about intimate areas or anything like that, you know, which we're not gonna talk about because I couldn't possibly talk about anything like that on YouTube. Maybe I should make a Rumble, but then I get, like, 5 viewers, and I'd be some disgusting creep who talked about things that no one wants to hear me talk about because I'm past my prime.
Story was completely distorted by Blake Lively in her own complaint. She made it sound like Justin Baldoni was going around her back and was worried about how fat she looked and was trying to scheme to get her personal trainer to institute some kind of weight loss program for her against her will under the radar. When in fact, what the case turns out to be is that Justin Baldoni had long-standing painful back issues. There was a scene originally in the script where he was going to lift Blake Lively, and he was worried that it would hurt his back depending on her weight. Now, Blake Lively flat out lied about this. She denied that there was a scene of this nature, a lifting scene in the film, but there was not a scene finally, only because she demanded that it be cut. And this is just one of the many lies and misrepresentations, dramatic misrepresentations in Blake Lively's side of the story that are then explained in Justin Baldoni's lawsuits. People say, they say to me, why do you quote Justin Baldoni's lawsuits and his claims, but you don't quote Blake Lively's? Well, it's because I've read Blake Lively's lawsuit and it's completely illogical and it's very obviously a sham and it makes no sense.
Here's the thing, like, all right, so theoretically, when someone does some kind of, like, pulls an Amber or something like that, you're not supposed to want to watch their movies because they're an abuser or something. And, like, yeah, I get that, but I don't think Ryan Reynolds has anything to do with, like, the creativeness of the Deadpool movies. He just acts the part. So it's not like it's, like, his movies, you know, I guess I wouldn't really care if I watched Deadpool movies or not. I'm not like some movie guy who, like, I have to watch. I'm not a teenagers are like, I have to watch this or I'll die. Like, I don't really care anymore. But it's
Such as the claim that birthing video that Jamie Heath showed her of his wife.
Did she just say birthing video? Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna watch more Kurt's videos because it's better than reading some article. I'll read some articles too, but articles never really dive very deep. Tim Miller. Okay. Maybe I will. But anyway, I'm over an hour here. I think Jan said she wanted to come on the live one time. So if you want, you can come on for like a few minutes, but I gotta go kind of soon. I got some strawberry now in my grape hot chocolate, which is always pretty interesting. So yeah, Jan, you can come on for a few minutes. I think you said you wanted to. So it's up to you, Jan. But if you do, just please tell me soon, because I gotta go at some point. It's gonna be 1 a.m. here, and 2 a.m. is like my limit. Then I'll wake up at like 8. I'll get like 6 hours of sleep. Maybe 5. I don't know. My life's a mess. Anyway, yep. Well, I'm glad you caught it too. But oh yeah, Patty, nice to see you. Sorry, I missed you come in or something. You've been supporting here a long time, I think. So no offense, I've got a couple of Patties, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you've been because you don't have a picture, so I can't really have a good way to know. So okay, cool. I'm gonna go then. If Jan's not coming on, I'm gonna leave it where it is. Over an hour here, and Colonel Kurtz has left the building. So yeah, let me do some thanks. Liz, thank you. Bosette, thank you as always. Lisa, thank you. And Sabrinkle Dinkle, thank you. Jan, thank you. Tal King, thank you. You've been here a very long time supporting too. been on the live a few times. Thank you so much. Sophie, thank you. I think, Sophie, you've been around here for a long time as well. Patty, Sabrinkle, can't remember who I said now because I've had a few hot chocolates. Just a bunch of sugar and marshmallows, no big deal. Fison, thanks to see you. Nice to see you, I meant. Not thanks to see you, but this is in the live. No one's going to hear that. Slightly slurring. Nah, who cares? It's all good. Thank you to me for being here, because without me, I guess no one would be here. And who else we got? Did I miss anybody? No, I think that's it. No, I had my surgery a year ago, but I still feel it. So anyway. Yep, you guys have a good evening. If you're not subscribed here, which I think every single one of you is, please subscribe. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.